Hey, Kelly, sound test.
I can hear you, Mike, loud and clear.
Thanks.
Well, actually, are you on your phone?
No, I'm in the office.
Okay. I think it may be my speaker, but I can hear you pretty good.
Okay.
Howdy, y'all. Good to see you. I'll give everyone a moment before we get started to see if anyone else jumps on the line here.
Just want to check to see, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Mr. Black. Drafting. Mr. Anderson. Just taking notes on everyone who's here, make sure we know who's with us. So y'all, I appreciate you joining us this evening for the Richland County Transportation Penny Advisory Committee meeting. Just pulling up our agenda. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. It looks like we are short a quorum, so we will not be adopting any minutes or providing, I guess, official agenda here, but that's okay. We'll still provide the opportunity for these departments to provide their updates for the public. Speaking of, have we received any public comments that have come to my attention? Has anyone else seen anything? Kelly or Mike?
No, there haven't been any.
Okay, very good. With that, we'll table item 3 on the agenda and move on to item 4 to hear from the Office of Small Business Opportunity. Michelle? Oh, we've got you muted now.
Thank you, Mr. Elting. I'd like to start, I'd like to start on page 4 with contract participation. And so as of September the 16th, our payments for SLBE, certified SLBEs was $42,504,000. And as you can see, payments for uncertified firms, those are primarily the other contracts. And that total was $962,496 for a combined total of $237,466,496. Jumping over to page 6, certified SLBE firm status as of September the 16th. We have 3 pending in our register. So they're waiting to be certified. We have approximately, we have 3 pending. We have 10 renewing certifications with less than 3 months, for an active total of certified SLBEs for 115. Moving on to the bottom of page 7, our total certified SLBEs by industry category. We have 8 architecture and engineer services. We have construction services. We have 36. We have 10 for non-professional services, 53 for professional services, and for wholesales, we have 8. Again, that's a total of 115. Moving to page 9, the last recent event we did was our 3rd annual Engage Richland Opportunity Day. We had approximately 275 participants. Now, we did this at R2I2, and that was a great turnout for us. We were expecting at least 250, but of course we got 275, and we still have people floating in and out because not everyone could make the event. So we talked about small business opportunities. We talked about contract opportunities, and we also talked about staffing. And there were a lot of government, Richland County departments that participated. They were able to present employment opportunities for people. We had staffing agencies as well that participated. So overall, the turnout was a big success for us, and we're so proud of it. And that being my last item that I have to discuss, are there any questions for me?
I wanted to comment, if I may. Being a first-time attendee at the Opportunity Day in Richland, it was a very, very professional and well-done organized event, and met a lot of people that are looking for opportunities and growth in their companies. So I appreciated that. Michelle's folks did outstanding.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Yeah, that 275. I thought 250 was lofty, and so 275 is even more incredible. That's awesome. And I hate that I wasn't in town to come by and spend some time with y'all that day. But thrilled to hear that it went well. Is there another one on the calendar for next year, or
Yes,
are you planning the 4th annual?
yes, we're planning our 4th annual. It'll basically be the same, just different topics.
Very good. Anything else coming up in the short term that y'all are looking forward to, or did you spend all your energy on this one?
This is actually our last signature event for the year. And then we just go into planning. We're in our planning stages for the next opportunities that we'll have, training, technical and administrative trainings that we're doing. So we'll be putting more information out once we get our tentative schedule ready.
Very good. Any other questions for Michelle before we move on to next item?
Hi, this is Frank Anderson. I don't have a question for Michelle. I'd like to say, Michelle, I was unable to attend this year due to a schedule conflict, but I want to congratulate you all for a great job that you did here with the event. And again, 275, that's a great, awesome turnout, and continue the good work that the Office of OBO does for Richland County.
Okay, Frank, just one minor correction. We are OSBO. OBO is the city. I'm sorry. We're OSBO.
Thank you.
But thank you. We appreciate it. We know you. We always see you at all our events, and we appreciate you helping us as well.
Thank you.
Awesome, y'all. I see that we have a switch on our agenda this week where Comet is going to be coming before the Penny program. So with that, item 5 on our agenda picks up on page, let's see here, 11 of our agenda packet.
Good evening, everyone. So I will start our report on page 11. And this time we're going to start with Reimagine the Comet. For those of you that are not familiar with Reimagine the Comet, so this is a transit plan to reconsider the regional bus network. It's a partnership between the Comet, the Regional Council of Government, known as the COG, and local counties and cities. So it's a plan for the next 10 years. So we're going to be working on this for a while. The study involves analyzing the existing system, ridership patterns, and surveying, considering alternatives. And like I said, it's a plan for a new network for the next 10 years. So at the bottom of page 12, you'll see that both goals are important. We have a ridership goal and we have a coverage goal. So basically the ridership goal is, it says, think like a business. And it's the lowest subsidy per passenger, supports dense and walkable development, max emissions reduction, and maximum reduction of vehicle miles traveled. So actually what that's saying is, as far as the ridership goal, and actually we're doing both now, the ridership and the coverage. And the ridership is, you can pick up a number of people in one centralized location. And for example, if they're like, say a couple apartment complexes that's in the area, and you can gather a lot of people in that one area, and the bus can only may only move like a block or two, but they're gathering a lot of people. So that's an example of the ridership goal, or like the schools and colleges. With Benedict and Allen University, they're like right next to each other. And we travel that area now, and the bus parks like on Taylor Street, which is right in between Benedict and Allen, and the bus don't really have to move, and you can pick up a lot of people. So, which is a great advantage. And the other goal is the coverage goal. Now that's when you like expanding your service area. Like now we do go to Newberry, we go to Sumter. And of course we cover, the Columbia area and parts of Lexington County. So that's like a coverage goal. Even though we are picking up riders, they're kind of sparingly here and there. You may not be that many riders, but you do have a large coverage area. So that's the example of the coverage goal. So on page 13, excuse me, the Comet existing network. So the Comet is now about 45% ridership and 45% coverage and about 10% duplicated. And duplicated is that, when buses are traveling the same direction, the same path for a certain distance, that's duplicated service. And sometimes you have to do that to get to where you're going. Some routes overlapping or too close together. These achieve neither ridership nor coverage. So we'll go to page 14. Ridership coverage decision. So the question of ridership versus coverage is a value question. Based on the public feedback and your values, the Comet board decided to proceed with a 6% ridership and 40% coverage. So that's what we're looking at doing. So the outreach process, there was a month and a half of outreach. So there were online surveys, which totaled 210 responses that were received. We had on-ground outreach, and we had 2 virtual public meetings for those surveys. Okay.
Jackie, just one moment, if you don't mind me interrupting. If you'd like to finish that, that's okay too.
Okay, go ahead.
When were those public outreach meetings? I feel like I've asked about those a few times and was never given a date, and now they've been completed.
Yes, when or where?
When? Yes, when?
It was multiple times. Actually, that process was outsourced to someone that took care of the surveys. I can get those exact dates for you. Yeah, I have those exact dates for you.
Yeah, I'd be curious, just because I was hoping to participate and didn't hear about it, and maybe it's because I failed to submit the survey, and so maybe I wasn't on the email list or something like that. But
okay.
I thought that those were going to be very public meetings, and we'd have an opportunity to
join. I
them.
remember you mentioned that before, and you actually went online and saw the survey, but I wasn't for sure if you actually did a survey or not.
I don't know that I ended up going all the way through and submitting, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. I'll get those dates for you.
And Ms. Bowers, this is Eva, all due respect to Chairman Epton, I'd like those dates as well when you provide those. Okay. Thank you. All right,
I'll just send it out to everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Okay. So next we go to page 15, which is the Lucius Road Super Stop. So we're well on the way with the Super Stop. That project now is 65% physically completed, and it's 57% financially completed. The last hurdle we had was finding a location to dispose of unsuitable soil. So we had unsuitable soil that was on the site that we couldn't use. So luckily, the contractor reached out to the housing authority. The property behind ours, which is on Marlborough Street, is owned by the Housing Authority. So they were contacted to see if they could use it. And of course, they said, yeah, they could use it on suitable soil to fill in those areas that needed filling in. So that is being done presently to get rid of the suitable soil.
We still on schedule to wrap up in October?
Yes. Yes, we're
Okay.
still on target. Okay, page number 16, which is a Davis and Floyd report. So work completed this period. We still have the site design, status reports, and project management, coordination with SCDOT regarding the outstanding permits. That's still going on. Bi-weekly meeting with our planning staff to discuss new work requests and review pending questions needing our input, which is our means of comment. Work in progress, AOS has the following bus stop under construction, which is located at Bull and Richland Street, downtown. No unresolved issues, pending items, stop number 1654. That one is still waiting on approval and signature for encroachment with the agreement with Dixie Pipeline. Page 17, comment shelter and bench permitting status. As far as completed sites, none at this time. The approved sites were Broad River and Shivers. That was one of the approved sites, and also Bull Street and Richland Street. Those are 2 shelters. And then there's one bench, which would be Hardscrabble and Bush Road. And that one's still awaiting on the sidewalk completion of Hardscrabble widening. So the sites that's currently under permit review, the one located at Pendleton Street and Barnwell, and also Gavilan and Campanella Street, which is in the Greenview neighborhood area. And also a bench at Reed and Oak Street. Okay, page 18. Sites in design, we have 3 shelters that's in design now. Decker Boulevard and Wedgefield Road. And then Medical Park at Prisma Health. And then Forest Drive and Trenton Road. And we have 11 benches that's in design as of now.
With Forest and Trenton, were y'all able to get those issues resolved with City of Forest Acres?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet. Yes. Okay, so page 19, we're going to go to the ridership report. So the ridership for August was 150,627. And the same time last year, it was 134,317. And that's with an increase of like 10.82%.
What do you think's driving that increased ridership year over year? Is it, I guess, COVID dying back, or is it increase from USC, or?
It's both. It's actually both, especially with the school, the USC, and then now a lot more people are like returning to their jobs, whereas they were like working from home or maybe laid off. But yeah, a lot more people are getting back to work.
Very good.
Which is always a good thing.
Love to see it.
Yes. Page 20, we have the previous month comparisons. So the ridership for July of this year was 118,533. And June, the year prior to that, was 121,579. So that was a decrease of 2.5% compared to those two months. So page 21, our financial statement, and 22 is our DBE tracking. And I think Miss Rosalind Andrews, I think she may be on if you have any questions dealing with finances. And that will conclude my report unless you have any questions.
I'll open it up to the floor. Anyone have any questions for Ms. Bowers? Jumping back for a moment, if you don't mind, to reimagine the Comet. So you say that the board has approved the 60-40 split, and
Right.
that's the direction that over the next 10 years you'll be working to implement that split.
Yes. Yes.
So are there maps that go with that 60-40, or are those the next step, or is that what you need to develop now that you have that guidance?
Yes, that's what we're needing to develop.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I guess it's something interesting, that 10% overlap that was in the existing system. I guess that's not going to be part of the new system, or
And with the overlap, it's like you almost have to have overlap.
right.
Yeah.
We only have so many main thoroughfares, right?
Right. And we've even had customers that call and say, you got buses following each other down the street. What sense does that make? But sometimes you have to follow each other to get to where you need to go. You may only follow each other for, I'm gonna say, a quarter of a mile or 2 or 3 blocks, and then you branch off and go your different directions.
Sure.
So, but that, you have to have some overlapping at some point.
So, I guess it may be a little bit late to provide this feedback, but I do worry that the 40% coverage goal may impact, more rural communities more so than the urban communities. Is there any way that y'all will be able to mitigate those impacts to hopefully still provide that level of service in the more rural parts of Richland County?
Yes, we can make the adjustments. So, and I'm sure that's what you want to put in when you do your survey.
Absolutely right. Is that still open?
I'll make sure you get your survey in. Whoever else want to get a survey in, but I think it's still open. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll get that to you as well.
Very good. I wonder if there's even an option to trade off, coverage to Newberry or Sumter to ensure that the residents of Richland County are still taken care of. But I understand there's also financial incentives to offer those services too.
Yes, and then we have to analyze the ridership data too. Just like now with the coverage in Newberry and Sumter, the ridership is not great at all for those 2 areas.
I understand.
So of course, the board analyzes the ridership data every month during the board meeting, and they make recommendations when they see a pattern of the ridership staying the same. So of course, you don't want to continue providing service in an area where no one's utilizing it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, and a lot of people understand that.
Absolutely. Very good. Any other questions before we move on to the transportation update? Very good. Thank you all so much.
Thank you too.
All right, Mr. Maloney, we'll turn it over to you. We're on page 23 of our agenda packet for those following along.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to the entire committee. Appreciate everyone's time on this, and hopefully with all the graphics and beautiful project pictures we just saw, we could keep up over here at transportation with that. Part of the presentation, I'd like to kind of share screen if that works, but that'll be a little bit on the next page. As you know, council was out in August and is coming back here. So we kind of reloaded the committee that is going to be ad hoc committee on the 27th of September, and anything we act on there hopefully will be approved in the first week of October. So we've got 4 projects that are under review at staff right now, which is Bull and Elmwood intersection construction award, dirt road package N, and resurfacing package S, award of construction. And then there were like 4 various mitigation bank credit sales I'll put into one briefing document. So fairly sizable one. So those are on the agenda for Transportation Ad Hoc Committee.
Anything of note with those items before it goes to ad hoc? I guess Bull and Elmwood, we mentioned those prices were a little high. Were y'all able to value engineer or find a way to make it work?
Not really. We looked at it. There was potential savings in some areas that we felt would become problems in construction, more than what they'd save. You know, it has a fair amount of night construction, et cetera. And I use that intersection at least, even if I'm going, you know, another way out of town, at least once a day, if not twice a day. So I know the situation there. And that's one of the things I can kind of show you just as a refresher what that the improvements do for that intersection. We'll be coming to that on top of page 24.
Great. And also getting good prices on mitigation credits. How's that market looking?
It's been the same, same unit price, not the highest. What was it?
Like 12.5 or something like that?
Yeah, it hasn't changed off that. And that's just basically our you know, where we are in competition, I believe, with the bank sales.
Okay.
So for the pre-construction update, I'll just start off with Alpine Road. It's Alpine Road sidewalk, but you know, it also includes resurfacing of Alpine Road. And that is being funded by South Carolina DOT as part of the project. So we'll manage the project that's, you know, mainly a sidewalk project, but also have the road resurface as well as part of the bid out project. Right now, we are needing a letter of no conflict from the utility to complete our final items on that. Atlas Road widening, that we're just going through some, you know, the final plans on how it impacts a couple of properties. We have a plan for the final property, in fact, for acquisition of reduced right-of-way and an adjusted area for a business that's real close to, going to be real close to the gate they have. So that's that detail still needs to get to South Carolina DOT for approval, so we can get to sign off on getting that out to bid. Bluff Road widening phase 2, that does have, we're getting estimates on that. That was a project that was de-scoped, but we are putting a new signal in one intersection and improving geometry on a couple more. But in the end, it all gets a new asphalt for essentially almost the interstate to where we left off with phase 1, not about a block off from the stadium. So it's an extensive resurfacing project, as well as what we're getting the estimate update on is in the commercial area. We don't have it yet, but and I mentioned this last month, we were putting infill sidewalk in. So Blythewood Road area improvements. This is one that I've been, you know, kind of coming up to speed on the different parts of it. So we're working on that and looking at termini issue with South DOT claiming ownership of McNulty Street. And you know, as far as the entire project. It has a road extension involved in it. We're not mentioning here, but it's getting close to the final plan of here's what we're going to build and submit the preliminaries. Broad River Road Corridor, NIP. Again, this one is working with SCDOT on a safety project they also have going on in this similar corridor. They're closer to Interstate 20 coming down, and then we kind of have a little bit of overlap with them, and we get down to the Broad River crossing with Broad River Road. So yeah, those plans just went in August for review. Broad River Road widening. We have been meeting with the city. We did get the additional information we needed to get back to DOT to discuss leaving getting an exception to leave the 54-inch potable water line transmission line in place. So that case is made, and Mr. McNutt was sending that off to DOT for an official exception. So we'll see where that comes in. Bull and Elmwood. So let's see if this works. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, so Bull and Elmwood's coming in. You know what this does, and if you're heading out of town and then going out towards 126 on Elmwood, right now there's some things being done to neck down the 3 lanes of Bull Street to two through lanes as you approach Elmwood. This design keeps all 3 lanes going through, heading over to 277 and the stadium. And so that is an extra lane in this direction. This also adds a lane here where currently there's the left and another left straight and then the right. This adds a dedicated through lane onto Elmwood Avenue, which is going to be an area of increased development in the future. So as far as kind of planning for the future, this has a left straight and a dedicated straight, which isn't there right now. And then when you go into this quadrant, kind of like you get a lot of DHEC employees, for instance, coming out of town this way. You can see my cursor. There is a right turn lane over here now, but I believe it's right and straight, and this has a dedicated right turn lane, where the only thing in this area you need to be concerned about it would be pedestrians. So it's dedicated all the way to you get to this point on Elmwood. So kind of free flowing, but obviously anything we say free flowing, also you have a pedestrian island on each side. But you also have the continuation of another right turn lane here that would be outside that splitter that can also join when they have the green light for that. And then of course, 2 through and a dedicated left. It was asked to me, does this intersection actually have any improvement or increased capacity? Usually with intersections, instead of talking about, grades based on wait time, like, oh, it's a G, it's an F or a D or a C. I'll just tell you the average wait time anybody has in this intersection is reduced by 57%. So that if you're waiting, 60 seconds, that's like, okay, it's going to be something less than 30 seconds. So if you're waiting a minute now, it's like less than half a minute. So yes, that increases capacity. And then the project is also adding this right turn lane into the street here, which is a great entrance here for the church. And then Marion Street, this part here is actually a heavy seal coat material that's put down, and then that'll be restriped with new parking. So that's the scope of it, and everything you're seeing there is either, in this case, a new seal coat, or in the rest of it, new asphalt pavement. Yeah, it did come in a little above budget, but you know, without going into those reserves, we do have other project reserves that are available. So we'll see what council decides on that.
Very good. I like it. It's a tough intersection.
I would say previously there was some question about encroachment on the church property. Had that issue been resolved?
Yeah, that was well, there is an acquisition that took place with the church. There were two main property acquisitions that occurred, and those have been completed.
And then I think y'all provided them a new entrance as well to help facilitate traffic in and out.
Yeah, that was that right turn lane I was showing you on Elmwood that gets you out of the traffic, so you can kind of go over and make a dedicated right onto that back road. That's I can't think of the name of the street there, but we continue into the church apron, and then it's a wider apron to enter the church parking lot.
So some concessions made to make sure they're happy. That's good.
Okay, and then I don't know why I stopped sharing. The next project is I want to talk about is Crane Creek Greenway. And you know, is that showing up, that map here?
Yes, sir.
So for a long time, you know, I guess I've been here a year now, and we kind of had a plan to come down and then come along and try to cross up the railroad tracks about where my cursor is and go under an underpass and then come up through this property that's owned by the city here. That's a pumping station for sewage right here. None of those crossings of the rail were working out. And so with the parking lot being down here, it's in the I'm pointing to the very low bottom left corner of the page. That's the parking trailhead. And then you'll see a kind of an area with contours going on top of a dam and then back down, and an area to get around it. That's the start of the project. And then it would have something that even light trucks could take to get over to providing service for some of the sewer structures over here. And then just kind of the normal trail begins with a boardwalk for a water crossing, hard trail right on grade, and then another water crossing, and hard trail on grade, and then another water crossing. And then we end with a loop right at Crane Creek. So right now we're anticipating that that's as far as we can go with the budget.
What's the linear footage on that?
Is Dr. Ali out there? If you have the linear footage of what that is. I'm going to say it's just, we'll look that up for you, but you know, it's going to be in the half-mile range.
Okay.
What is the anticipated start date on that project? When is it expected to be completed?
I would say the construction date is still close to a year out. They're following this alignment, and they're developing the plans yet on it. So I would say that's about 6 months out as far as development of plans. So bidding, you know, would have to be beyond that. seems to have lost my tab. Here it is. Can you see that map?
Yes.
It's, green and gold and blue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's Palmetto Trail, and I can you see my cursor on it?
Yep.
Okay, so this project takes us from here to about that star, so that's where it would be right here. And this organization, that's the Palmetto Foundation, we have to get together with them, but they're looking to build it up here, which is like another 9.5 miles or so. And that's just south of the lake up there and the power plant, real close to the bridge crossing of Broad River. So I guess there's a piece here, and you can see that there's various missing pieces, but this would be a big link right here. So by just going north, I mean, that and as far as we can go, that's the plan. And I would link up with them in their, master plan then.
Yeah, start getting a little bit closer to that Peak to Prosperity Trail.
All right, so that's the update on that. That's just an alignment that works with, a greater connection. And, we can thank the staff at the city and, putting us in touch with them. Decker Woodfield neighborhood improvement. We have reached out to the Richland County Rec Commission. Their attorney is still reviewing our agreement. So that's the connector that's got to be built through a wooded parcel, connect a neighborhood with what would be the school across the street from where it will come out. And so I think that's all we need to get going on that, is just get that agreement in place. Next one down is, that really should be bulleted back one, but it's Garner's Ferry Harmon intersection. We're going to be moving that anyhow out of here and into construction. That started last week with clearing and utility relocation. Will be following shortly. So they're out on that. Kind of turning to page 25. Resurfacing package S&T, moving to construction. S is, of course, another one of the items on the agenda to award it. T is available to bid on right now. So that'll be closing soon. Screaming Eagle Percival's had its pre-con last week, and it's ready to begin on October 3rd for construction. So those are, all projects that we need to move to the construction update. Shop Road widening, we had sent a cross-section into DOT for a kind of a concept review. And given their feedback and the goals of the project, we'll be adding to that section is 5-lane cross-section, driving lanes, a wide center turning lane, so 4 driving lanes in a center lane, and then a 5-foot sidewalk behind curb and gutter on each side. So that's being developed by our OET for continuing. I know we have on here, still a concern about the drainage system. We're going to have to meet with our OET to get that going. CERN is that sidewalk extension to Rabbit Run. That's still in plan development. And then Trenholm Newcastle NIP is quite a few sidewalks and we've got to get kind of updated on, I guess, 5 NIPs to do that are left in the program, and we're getting updated estimates on those from our OETs to see where we stand on the budget on those. So I don't know if there's any other questions on pre-design.
Yeah, let's pause for a moment here. Does anyone from the group have any questions on pre-design items that we went over, or any that we didn't?
Director Maloney, I'm not sure. I wanted to ask a question about Eva Prelo asking the question. And my apologies for being off camera. I'm on my mother's care duty right now. So, but I still definitely didn't want to miss the meeting. But I do have a question as it relates to the neighborhood improvement plan or projects. What is the criteria to request to be placed on the list, or what does that neighborhood improvement entails? And the reason I'm asking is because I was asked a question about the community off Shop Road. The community escaped me right now, but I will provide you that information. But I was asked about coming into that particular community and assess those roads in the community because they were in poor condition. And I do understand that it's a combination of county roads as well as state roads, and it primarily a lot of potholes, and they're saying they go into the community or come into the community and just do patches, and it doesn't really hold up. So I wasn't sure if the neighborhood community plan, if that's where it fits, where someone can come in and perhaps funding can help improve that. So what is the criteria for the neighborhood improvement plan? And what is that? What does that entail?
Well, most of the items in the neighborhood improvement plan are kind of like neighborhood interconnecting sidewalks and maybe connecting that neighborhood with a corridor that people are trying to get to and from by foot or bike. The resurfacing plan that might address your question, or I think what you mentioned was pavement condition.
Yes, and that's Washington Park, the community that I'm
right
asked about.
So kind of just a update on that. If we turned to page 29 of 29. Hopefully you all have good staples or like I do. So in the orange area at the top, all the road work, and if you go almost to the bottom of the list where we have the resurfacing area, and there was $40 million set aside for that. And we were recently at $32,861,000. S&T that are out there right now are going to get us up there, close, to like 38 million or something like that. And we think there'd be room to do U. We're not sure how big U is going to be yet, but as long as we're looking at that page, and we did go to council and we talked about the project reserve of $52.5 million. And if we aren't spending all our money on contingency of, for instance, inflation, we did have a couple of recommendations, and they approved that general plan, which let's get a couple more big projects bid out before we make any decisions with reserves. But there were 3 things then to look at. Always keep money in reserve for inflation. Look at the resurfacing program, which is about to run out of money. And then 3, look at projects that are early enough in their stages that could be potentially, rescoped, if what we're doing needs additional scope for the referendum. So in that mix was, an opportunity, and I recommended $5 million a year. So you could, just like keeping money in the reserve in a declining amount as you need to the end of the program to cover all your projects. Kind of on a steadily increasing diet or a steady diet would be borrowing from that $5 million a year as you go for resurfacing, which is a fair amount to keep going. But it would also address roads that maybe aren't on our list yet, that we're not, that this committee could certainly be a part of addressing, problem roads. And I'd also say then there's also Richland County Public Works and SCDOT and City of Columbia doing their own smaller scale, but still having some budgets for road maintenance that we could kind of lean on to take care of certain roads. They do get that from, and you mentioned SCDOT roads. I know if you go to the CTC meetings, you'll get a sense that there are a couple members that maybe represent different parts of the county. And with C funds, they're kind of letting the officials from the DOT know where they do see problems like that. So and I don't mean to just pick on the DOT. We would have the same thing using road maintenance fund in DPW to also steer us into our annual plan that has to be approved by council for that. So there's different opportunities here to address what you were mentioning, Ms. Prelo. And, the penny could be one if we are able to use that $5 million a year to keep the resurfacing program going. And that was approved by council in, I gotta say, July. I think it was approved when they came back actually at the beginning of September.
Okay, thank you, Director Maloney. That was the HOA president for that particular community.
Yes.
Inquired about it, and to my understanding, I believe she has reached out to her council representative, so you'll probably be receiving this same request from council, I believe it was Councilwoman English District.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. I'm glad there's an opportunity to hopefully utilize additional funds to address some areas that may have gotten left out in the initial referendum. That's good to hear. And of course, those other revenues or avenues to seek revenue to find some other folks to pay for that sort of stuff too. Because yeah, I'm not sure about ownership of those roads back there. If they are county roads or city roads or DOT roads, I know that we've got a patchwork everywhere too. So there may be multiple sources of funding to reach out to, but finding a nice convenient spot with a big pot of money like the penny program certainly seems advantageous as well.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Anything else on pre-construction that we want to talk about? I did want to ask about Gills Creek and what's going on with it and what next steps we may be looking for there.
Let's see, did I skip that one? I had to because I don't remember talking about it.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's on the list either. Did it move to construction? I just didn't see it.
No.
Not there either. Okay, I thought I'd check.
Did you find it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is Ali.
Hey, Dr. Ali.
Yes, I just want to tell you that currently it is approximately 3,600 linear feet of the length. Originally, it was 4,600. Currently, it's 35 to 3,600 feet.
Thank you, sir. So that was going back to Crane Creek Greenway?
Yes. And then
So,
it's another 2,500 to I-20 if we take that path.
okay. Yes, sir. So we got a little over a mile. So Dr. Ali is our project manager of this project, and he was correcting my half-mile guess, which is good. I was not sure. I didn't want to overstate it, but it's over a mile.
It sounds like there's an option though to proceed past Crane Creek to I-20 to get to that mile.
Yeah, it'll be budget limited. I know they're showing some alternatives on the plan, on that, like a boardwalk to the wetlands, you know, almost like an observation fishing deck over here. It might be, you could almost take that funding and put it in the next bridge, which is going to be right up in the upper right corner of the page, which is the Crane Creek crossing. So, yeah, I think we'll definitely want to talk to the city about that. Obviously, the farther you go north, the better.
Very good. So, how about that Gills Creek?
Gills Creek. Well, I am not seeing it either. I didn't realize we didn't put it on here. We'll make sure it's on next month.
Yeah, I think last month we said that it was on hold right now since the last proposal was rejected by the city, looking at some other options around closer to Beltline and Rosewood, but, or rather Divine and Rosewood, but I guess not a lot of progress there.
It's not on hold. We do have to get into the property side of it, but carrying out the referendum alignment, which, you know, is Fort Jackson down to what is it called, McHale Street, which is you know, getting almost down to the neck of the woods where we were with the kind of the flood area where the houses came down. But getting it down to there, you know, it's just it could be a fair amount of boardwalk. But we would start at Fort Jackson. We've talked to the city about they're getting us a good plan of their road diet that they're going to do in that first block. And so once you get to what is it, Divine, that's where either they'll, you know, we're still working that out. We need to see what their road diet will get us, so we stay away from the new stormwater structures they just put out there with a lot of riprap around them. From there down, our OET has preliminary plans. So that plan follows along the car wash and the entrance to the retail center, staying in front of the car wash, and then wrapping around it from to the back corner of it. And then next month I can bring you a drawing of that so we can look at that. But then we're pretty much boardwalk from leaving the car wash property. It's not that far, but you'll be in the air, elevated about, I would say, 8 or 9 feet. And then the boardwalk goes down a slope, and that we have to check what that slope is. I believe it was only a few percent slope. But you'll then be about a foot off grade or so to get under the bridge at Rosewood. Just continue boardwalk through, and that's what the rest of the trail is, essentially boardwalk to get to McHale.
Very good.
There's also Jeff McNesby is the project manager on this, and organized a meeting with Midland Tech to talk about between Rosewood and the car wash, a connector into their area where they have a large parking lot there. That would probably benefit the students being able to access that. So.
Absolutely. Love the sound of the direction it's heading in, and any visual aids you want to bring next time, we'd certainly welcome.
That'll be next month's visual. Trying to keep up with OSPO and the whole system that's doing so well with their graphics.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else from anybody on pre-construction before we move into the construction update?
Yes, one more question, Director Maloney.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is actually just one more question. So here's the plea. Calvin Mays Road. Can you help me with that one? It's been, and my apologies, because there's a lot going on over here. Calvin Mays Road, that we've been waiting for an easement or right of way to sign off. It's been approved. Funding is approved for that particular road for paving. And it's still sitting dormant just to get the easement signed. That's the one that I think it's assigned to Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could check into that for me. Oh, gee,
Okay.
I can certainly follow up with you, Director Maloney. I'll just give you a call and follow up with you this week on it.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Check into that for me.
Look forward to that. I'll just say, yeah, if everyone's okay on dirt roads, they go really well if for the opportunity to get your road paved, properly designed for drainage, and you know, we can get the land for that as an exchange. That's what the program's been doing, and if that works out on that road, I don't see anything that would delay it from being part of the program. Having said that, we're nearing our budget on resurfacing. We're only halfway spent on dirt roads, and part of that is the challenge of getting to roads that people want paved, or you know, everyone wants paved, and as far as you know, acquiring property to do so. Richland County does have ordinance to allow us to maintain by prescriptive easement dirt roads, but not paved roads. So we do need that narrow corridor to do it. But yeah, I look forward to getting back to Ms. Brillo on that.
And I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's not that I'm signaling out that's that one particular road, but I know that it's been one that we've been working on for quite some time. So
Okay.
I just wanted to see if you could follow up on that one. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. We'll include that in our presentation next month. All right. For construction update, I know that we're substantially complete on dirt road package K, getting close on L. M is kind of like we're in the rough grades status on most of the projects, you know, as far as trying to get dirt Bowstring Road paved. I think today that particular project has an infiltration system we installed to take care of the excess flow and pre-existing problems that were out there. And we're looking at some grade issues that we have to get back to the contractor on the cross slopes of the roads for that to function properly. Been having requests by citizens on Cornell Adams, which is on package N, which is out for advertisement. So that's kind of ready to move to construction. We'll get going this I'd say at early October, so it'll be late October, early November will be in construction. And in Cornell Adams, it was the first one on that list. Innovista Phase 2. So we got 90% complete here. Good news is we were out meeting with somebody on another issue, and a contractor got in our way. We said, okay, we'll just wait for him. And he was pulling the barricades aside on the bridge. So they're getting ready to mobilize. So that's for the shade structure going up. I believe it's still like late into November when they'll be done with that installation. And we have issues ongoing with the petition requirements with the city. So we'll be continuing to discuss that. North Main Street, the contractor started, I think it was a week before last, but they were saw cutting. They're saw cutting the pavement. The reason they're saw cutting it is so that the panels will be in smaller pieces to pull out. And they'll be working under traffic. Traffic will be one lane, but it'll be open. Phase 1B, we've been had this on the list for a while, but we just need as-built on that. And then I don't know if Kim, if you're available to speak, but you said CSX is requiring a fence to be installed. I guess that'll affect our closeout. So I know that we had moved it to prevent an over, a roof, but I guess they're requiring a fence now.
So if they go on strike, then we don't have to do it.
Yeah, so I guess the strike was averted. And I don't know if anybody's heard. I've been working all day. I don't know if anything's
Can
changed.
you hear me? Oh,
Hey, Kim.
hi. Yes, CSX, I believe the strike has been, or the threat of the strike has been averted, but CSX is, we now place the fence, onto their right of way to prevent people from, sorry if you hear navigation. So we have to put a fence up that.
All right. So we're gonna do that and get our contractor to install it soon.
The contractor's already got the materials and everything, but we were just waiting about this pending, waiting on the contractor to finish another job and waiting on this pending strike. So as soon as I find out from the contractor a start date, they will install the fence. I think the fence is 125, 150 feet, something like that.
Okay, not a big stretch. Well,
Can you hear me?
Yep, we're good. You can mute. Unless anybody has questions for.
All right, sorry.
That concludes our report on construction. We're again on our upcoming Alpine, Percival, Sunset sidewalks. After that, there's really no sidewalk projects. Atlas Road widening, we're just really close on that, and Blythewood widening. We're at the point of trying to file those right-of-way permits. Well, right-of-way declarations, everything's been obtained. So those are all very close in projects. We want to keep moving here in the fall. But I looked at the projects left to do in the penny, and I'm going to first be presenting that to administration and council members. And I think once I have that in final draft, I can start putting that in as a report with kind of like our financial report, but one that just shows what's ahead of us remaining in projects. With projects removed coming off the list, there's room to actually list the five NIPs that are remaining, the sidewalks that are remaining, bikeway projects that are remaining. And the only thing that we really don't have room to list, obviously, are dirt road. Well, even dirt roads, but it changes frequently as we keep moving on that. And the resurfacing projects are quite extensive list, so we just put those separately. But then we have a full picture of the remaining projects, and project managers at the transportation department have been outstanding to work with, and they've all developed schedules for the remaining program. And so I can at least show you, I don't know if that even comes in.
It's coming in fuzzy for some reason.
Yeah, it's my screen effect, but they're down to where we're going to be, and obviously all your greatest plans can change with some delays, and we're seeing some of those. But as far as where we are now and what we have going, there's a lot of construction plans for the next 2 years. And that's all I have.
Very good. Y'all, any other questions for Mr. Maloney? Awesome. I appreciate it, Mike. Moving on into the next item, or our other business of our agenda here. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 17th. I would appreciate a little bit of feedback from our appointees. I'd love to get back in person. I tend to function better that way. Y'all can see I'm in my office right now. Frank, Eva, Candace, is there any interest from y'all for meeting in person for the next meeting on the 17th of October? Or do y'all prefer this virtual option, which of course would still be provided regardless?
John, I don't have an issue meeting in person.
I don't have an issue either.
Very good. And Miss Eva, I imagine if available, you might be willing to join us as well. We know she's got a rowdy background going on there, but in any case, y'all, we will try and have an in-person option for our next meeting, and the virtual option will still be available to make sure we're accessible to as many people as possible. But I think it might be good for our camaraderie and to build a group of concerned and engaged citizens by meeting in person a little bit more often. So we'll try and get that set up for the next meeting. So Kelly, I'll be in touch to work with you to get that set up, and maybe we could talk to security about keeping the doors open a little bit longer so we can get in the building and everything to be able to facilitate that, huh?
Okay, no problem. Yes, I'll speak to administration about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And then I was just looking at the agendas for Rules and Appointments Committee. I'm just looking through to see if there's anyone for TPAC, and I see that tomorrow it looks like they have an interview for a potential appointee to TPAC. And so hopefully Ms. Kiefer will do well in her interview and be appointed. And then I see that she is also on the agenda for an appointment as well. So we'll see how her interview goes, and maybe we'll have another Richland County appointee before the next meeting. I also need to reach back out to the city of Columbia. They've got, I guess, one, maybe even two appointees who may need reassignment. So I'll get on their itinerary, but otherwise I think that we are in decent shape. I think maybe one more Richland County appointee would be prudent. And then Mr. Anderson, if I know that you only gave me a year last time we talked about it, so it might be time to talk to Irmo about another appointee, unless you want to stick around for another year and keep hanging out with us.
Well, we'll see. Like I say, if Irmo has another candidate, that'll be fine. If not, I will serve until they find a replacement.
Very good, sir. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep. So y'all, short, anything else y'all want to talk about? I'll open the floor for a moment if there's anything else y'all want to chime in on before we wrap this up.
I just say for next month in person, we'd still provide the presentation kind of the way I did, so that anybody could see it that was tuning in. So it'll prevent us from making a lot of copy too of items that we will likely be throwing out because they're just draft at this point. But we'll have things that we can present on the big screen in the conference room there. It's a nice size screen and it'll work good for if you come in person. That would be great. We do put IT and other people commitments from them to schedule that meeting. So appreciate everybody that would show up for it. That would be really helpful. And then, like I say, if you anybody who wants to see it recorded or whatnot, would have the ability to see those displays as well presented.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate everyone's time this evening. I hope y'all have a great evening and a great month. But with that, we'll adjourn this meeting and look forward to seeing y'all then. Thank you very much.
All right,
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.